Now, a couple things about the optic business. It's been around now for probably 4 or 5 years, and it's really started to get some traction. I remember years ago when the optics first came out, they were really used by competition shooters, primarily competition shooters. And then as they perfected the technology, the people started using them, for concealed carry and for other shooting. And to be honest, you are more accurate with an optic than you are with iron sights, just flat out. All the top shooters in the world use optics. And there's a reason, because it really does work. It makes you faster, it makes you more accurate once you got used to it. Now, what's really interesting is really about 3 years ago, the law enforcement community started to recognize that their officers would be more accurate and safer with an optic. Because if you're more accurate when you're shooting, you're going to be safer, right? You're hitting the target that you intend to hit. And so law enforcement around the country started to adopt optics. Well, that's just really interesting to me, because before it was no. They have people say, oh, I can't do it because my agency won't let me do it. I can't carry a gun with an optic because the agency won't let me carry a gun. Now it's the exact opposite. In fact, in our 10-day optics program, we've got a couple, 2 or 3 of the sheriff's departments here in Tennessee, local Tennessee, send us 30 or 40 guns at a time because they're making everybody use optics. That's how much better the optic is. So if you're thinking about an optic, there's a really good reason to go ahead and join the optic revolution, what I like to call it, because it does make you a faster and more accurate shooter. And in a sense, it's going to make you safer, because if you hit the target you're looking at, you consider to be safer. And that's really what it's about. So now these 2 new optics, what's interesting, I was kind of getting to the point that, as the technology has advanced over the past 5 years, we've seen all kinds of different changes that kind of bring different things to the table. And this particular optic brings something different to the table. What they have done, Viridian have done, is they have put not only the battery on the top, which is kind of normal. I mean, people are, okay, yeah, that's good, because I don't have to take the gun off to change the battery. But what they have done is they've also put the emitter, the laser diode, the laser piece that actually emits onto the glass, onto the top. Now, you may ask yourself, well, what's so special about that? What's special about that is because they didn't put it on the bottom. All that electronics lives on the top, which means that the bottom is a lot flatter, a lot smaller. And so if you look at this optic, you're going to notice how thin the bottom floor is, which means that you can co-witness with factory sights, because it sits so low, because there's not all the the electronics is what I'm trying to say on the bottom that kind of give you a thicker footprint. So that's one of the things that's really phenomenal. Now, Viridian's been around for a while. They make weapon lights, and they make weapon lights with lasers. And they've always had a green laser. So hence, inside, the dot is green. So that's another advantage, in my mind at least. I like the green dot. Now, some people like the red dot. What's the difference? Green is brighter than red. Green, it's kind of a lime green. In my mind, I see it a lot better. Now, my eyes are older, and some people actually say, no, I want a red dot. But if I had a choice between red and green, I'd always go green, personally. Okay, so that's something for you to consider as well. But these are available only in green, because Viridian has always done green, hence their boxes are green. So there's 2 new optics. One is the Viridian RFX 45, which is kind of a larger optic. And then there's the RFX 44, which is smaller, and they say it fits for the G43X48, whereas the larger one fits for the larger guns. And we're going to go ahead and show you that in just a second. So here they are side by side. And you'll see, one is obviously bigger than the other as far as the overall size. Now, the footprint is smaller because it's not as long. So again, same thing, same concept, very small base, so it co-witnesses with your factory sights. They do include in the package a plate, and the mounting system they're using is similar to the Acro P2. So it's a clamping system that goes onto a rail, Picatinny type rail. Okay, I'll use that as an example, that fits directly into the MOS cutout. So there's the plate that comes with it. So here's a Glock 47, okay, it's empty. And you should always do that every time you pick up a gun. Every time, okay? I know it was empty. but I'm going to pick it up and I'm going to check it again, because even though it's been sitting right here, you know, it's just a good habit to have. No one's got to fault you for looking and to make sure the gun is safe, right? But if you shoot someone by accident, or you shoot your table by accident, you know, your wife's going to be pretty upset. Now, here is the Viridian plate that comes with it, and it drops directly into here, just like that. And you screw it down to make it fit tight. Okay, so once you attach this to the actual gun, then the optic, like I said, has kind of this clamping system. And so there's a screw on the side here, and you go ahead and it comes with a really handy tool, by the way. So you undo that screw, and then the clamp will fall out like that. I don't want to do the screw all the way out. It can come all the way out. You don't need to take it all the way out, though. And basically, then you just go ahead and kind of one side goes to the other. So I'll get this one side on here. Let's see here if I can get this lined up properly. Here we go. And then you just go ahead and tighten it down, like so. Now, this optic, as you would expect, has windage and elevation adjustments. I'll just tighten that a little bit there. It also has your brightness adjustments right here on the I guess left side of the frame or of the gun as you are pointing down downrange. So it allows you to increase the brightness or to drop it down, and of course also to turn it off too, so it doesn't sit there and burn the battery. So that is it, pretty in a nutshell. It's a pretty neat little optic, and again, if you can look at this, and I've got factory sights on it, and I have just a bare co-witness with their plate. Now, what's interesting, if you don't have an MOS gun and you want to mount this optic, we can mill your slide to accept this optic, and it'll sit even lower because we won't use the plate. And then you'll see even more of a co-witness. So I'm seeing just a bare, I mean literally like a 1/16 of a window there, co-witness, where I can see that front sight and rear sight just a little bit. Okay, so it's not a great co-witness, but again, it's there. I'll see if I can show it to you here. Let's go like that and like that. There we go. So you can see it through the window. Now, you may do better if you have some suppressor height sights as well, but it's really up to you. What I've found, and what a lot of people have determined over time, is that when you really get used to the dot, the sights kind of get in the way. So, I mean, if you really train yourself to work with a dot, the sights are kind of, they're there, they're secondary, but they kind of start to block your view. So I think, you know, a smaller co-witness is actually sometimes better in my mind. Now, the other side of that is if the battery goes bad or something happens to the optic, you know, you do have a backup sight. With the taller sights, it's a little bit easier. I can get that. But like I said, the purists, you know, a lot of guys I know, a lot of young guys especially, who shoot a lot, they don't want any sights at all. A lot of competition guys just do red dot only. And again, they're not, life's not depending upon it. It's a competition. They're going out and playing around and shooting as fast as they can. And it is faster when you get just used to the dot. But co-witness is always a good opportunity or good option for me, especially for self-defense. So this optic is relatively new. We do have our new A plate coming, and it will be a little thinner than their plate, which will allow it to sit even lower. So that's going to be available soon too. Now, like I said, that Viridian includes a plate with the full-size optic that allows you to just mount directly to the MOS footprint. On the 43X, same concept. I've removed the MOS cover plate, and if I go ahead and just place it in here, you'll see it does fit nicely. And it looks pretty good. And I would say, I tell you what, if I have a G43X and it's not an MOS, this thing would be pretty awesome because it would sit down here just like that and very low onto the gun and allow you to co-witness with your factory sites. Yep, there it is. Again, just about a 16th of a co-witness, but they're certainly there. But that's what it would look like on the 43X. And the 43X, like I said, is smaller in the length of the overall optic. And again, the batteries on the top, adjustments on the side, and that laser diode is on the top, and that's again why it sits so darn low. So they've done a pretty neat job, they being Viridian. And it's a new optic that just came out. Like I said, they've been around for many, many years, so they're a reputable company. I think this is one to consider if you're interested in joining the Red Dot Revolution. Now keep in mind, we've done over 15,000 slides that people have sent their slide to us. We've milled it for all types of optics on all types of Glocks. Doesn't matter which Glock it is, doesn't matter what generation it is. People always ask, I've got a Gen 2, can you actually mill it for an optic? Yes, we can. I've got a Gen 3, yes, we can. I've got a 43X, I've got a 42, yes. The only one we can't mill for an optic is the Glock 44, and that's because of the internals and how that works. A lot of people ask that question, why? Well, it's just the way they build it. We can't get deep enough, we can't cut back there in that area. For whatever reason, it's just not possible. So bottom line is, if you want to join the Red Dot Revolution and you've got a gun that does not have an MOS plate, or an MOS cutout already, we can mill it and install just about any optic you can, and the new RMX or RFX 45, RFX 44 to your gun. Now the 44, even though it's smaller, will fit onto the full-size guns. So that's something to consider as well. So if you're thinking about, hey, I want to have that, it'll be a little goofy in a sense that it won't. Hopefully it's robust enough. It'll be a little goofy in the sense that it won't necessarily fill up that footprint, but we will probably make a plate to fill up those holes so that it will fit there, because a lot of people like the smaller optics versus the bigger ones, because if it's a concealed carry gun, it's easier to carry. So all that said, if you've got a gun that you're looking to go ahead and mill for an optic, send it to us. We will turn it around to you in 10 days or less. And that's kind of what I was getting to. We've done over 15,000 slides, every one of them in 10 days or less, and lots of great satisfaction. Thank you all for, trusting us with your slide, and thank you all for being a customer, and thank you all for watching. And if you're ever in Nashville, make sure you drop down here at our studio and into our showroom, because we have the probably nicest gun store in town, and we've got the most amazing shooting rooms as well. Remember, they're not lanes. We shoot in rooms, so you can shoot in multiple directions and multiple targets. And it's kind of like a Pilates studio versus a family fitness center. Just a lot of fun to shoot here. A lot of great people out there, but also every piece, part, optic that you can imagine for your Glock. We've got them right here in Nashville. Thanks for watching. I'm Lenny McGill. We will see you next time.